Good morning and welcome to the quick analysis of the first slot of the CAT 2022. And I know there are people who are about to get into the slot 2, so I am going to have a quick analysis which can help students who are taking the exam in the second as well as third slot. Let me quickly introduce myself. My name is Hirdesh Madan. I am the co-founder of HitBullseye and almost 24 years into this industry. And today, if you see the overall paper, there was no surprises in the pattern. I'm saying overall we had 24 questions in verbal, 20 in DI, and 22 in the math section. And if we quickly look at the pattern of the exam, I'll say quick bird view. So this is the quick bird view of the exam. We had almost 24 questions in verbal ability section, and out of which 3 were non-MCQ, 40 minutes as usual, and I'll not come to the attempt right now. DI we had 20 questions and 5 non-MCQ. Math we had 22. Overall 66 questions, and that was the no surprise in the pattern. But let me quickly go to the individual section and let us see what was the difference between this year's verbal and the last year's verbal. Okay, so here if we see the quick analysis of the verbal ability, so there was one surprise, and please listen to me very carefully. There was one surprise that instead of misfit questions, we had 3 questions from a typical area where in a paragraph fill in the blanks were given, and you had to select in which of the fill in the blank the sentence will fit in. Overall, if you see the RC, we had 4 RCs of 4 questions into 4 each, and we had a typical para jumble which was 3 questions non-MCQ, fill in the blank which was a typical, 2 para summary questions, and the new type of the area which was talking about is the best fit sentence. Don't worry, this is a simple question. You have to just think like you are doing a misfit or a rearrangement. The only thing is the format is different, but skill is not different, so don't worry on this question. If you see, the verbal was moderate, it was not easy, it was not difficult, and there were 4 passages. One passage related to supernatural and occult science, which is typical of ghost and this thing. Second was critical impact of technology. One topic was related to stoicism, and it was related to Roman times, self culture and all those things. And one was about the history of how Chinese people copy technology. There were 4 typical RC passages, and as I told you, so overall if you see, एवरीथिंग बॉयल डाउन टू कि कितना जल्दी आप अच्छा आरसी का सेक्शन पकड़ते हैं. 3 आरसी आप आराम से कर सकते हैं. सो 3 आरसीज यू कैन इजीली अटेम्प्ट and all those, but if you are having 2, great. But overall the attempt in this section was good. Attempt was 16 to 20 out of 24, right? So 16 to 20 was a good attempt, and if you see the previous 3 CAT papers, you'll understand that the almost paper has a similar design in slot 2 and 3. So please expect the similar trend in the next 2 slots. So that was about the verbal. Now let us quickly come to the second section, which is the DI section. And if you see the DI section, let me give a quick analysis to you on that. Yeah, so in DI was the toughest section. Remember this section, as usual, last year it was slightly easy, but this time again it is tough, and unfortunately there is no pure DI. So don't expect bar diagrams, caselets, anything, right? All 4 were your typical questions which were more about, I'll say, the games, about analytical reasoning questions, and 2 questions were quite similar to what kind of a questions we have seen in the past CAT papers, typical questions. So if you see, there are 4 blocks. First block was, one was related to the game of hockey, the goals, the number of matches, how, who and all conditions around that. That was the first. It has 5 questions. Then you had one topic which are related to the teams. There were trains and there were metro station selections, going east to west, north to this thing, and there were different operations related issues. So that was the second block, which had 4 questions, and there was one block which was related to judges were evaluating, taking interviews, and they were giving tokens to the candidates, and this was again the more or less designed similar to the game, and 5 questions. And the last one was there was a get together planning which was to be done, and this was more or less a Venn diagram based kind of a block, but this was slightly difficult, has 6 questions. So overall, if you see, our team had gone to the physical centers, we have talked to so many students, and when I am talking to you, we have done the ground research, and the ground research says DI is going to be difficult this year in the next 2 or 3 slot, and we the good students have I will say they have given 9 to 11 is the range of questions they have attempted. So a good attempt was 9 to 11 in this section, and there are 5 questions which are non MCQ and 15 questions were MCQ. So that was a quick analysis of the paper. So I think all the 4 blocks, and the most important, again I am repeating for you, is that the most important thing is all questions are AR based, right? So no DI. So DI was big no, and we have seen this trend since so many years, over and over. DI is almost pushed out of the CAT exam, and this paper is a vindication. So don't see in DI section, you don't have to worry. The most important skill in DI section is what? Selecting the right block. So instead of trying to solve, read first all the 4 blocks, identify, pick first, give your best shot, then pick second, because the probability is you may not do 3, you may end up doing 2. Very good people, I have not seen people reaching to the 4th level anyway, that is just 0.1% people, but most of the people you will be able to touch 2 blocks. So it means out of 4 you have to solve 2, remember this, like high probability. So that is related to the second section. Now let us move to the third section, which is the math section. So math section, the way it has been reported by student is, we call it, we have found this paper, this section to be moderate. It was not difficult, it was not very easy, and the good attempt in this is around 15 to 18. So a good attempt will be 15 to 18. We had seen lot of questions from algebra this time, right? Algebra questions were related to maximum and minimum value, question related to, some question related to series, some questions related to average. Also in number system we had spread across different type of questions, but overall algebra was there, algebra is back. Yes, commercial math, which is typical percentage, profit loss, and time and speed, and all those chapters had good amount of questions. So if you see the arithmetic, so there were almost 5 questions from this area. Algebra, function minima, 6 questions if you see, and number system, again I think this time after 2-3 years we had more number of questions from the number system, but overall profit permutation combination had 1 question, Venn diagram had 1 question. So overall geometry mensuration was not coming in chunks this time. Earlier we had seen 4-5 questions, this time only 1 question related to trapezium was there. So overall if you see this paper, so math, what is the tip? If in this paper you are attempting, find your first 8 questions. That's very critical. Find your first 8 questions, right? As I told in DI, first block and the second block, here first 8 questions. Once you are, and I am talking the strategy for the average student, average plus student who is targeting around 90 percentile. Yes, for a topper, yes, I will say you have to leave just 4-5 questions, but for others attempt, you have to see first 8-10 questions, and they are doable. You will be able to find 8 question easily doable in this section, looking at the trend. So overall, if I have to give you tips for the slot 1, 2 as well as not only slot 2, but probably I will say slot 2 and 3. 2 and 3 very simple, expect the similar trend, because that is what it happens. So, what is there in verbal? Expect moderate, in DI difficult, quant easy to moderate. So, target 8 questions, 8 plus probably 5 to 8. First one block, then second block. In verbal, I'll say do good 2 RCs. So, first read, quickly skim down the RC before you solve, and as we have a new type of a question answer, is do not change your strategy what you have been following since a number of months. Right now, just stay calm, stay cool, and the most important thing is at this juncture, because you are lucky people, you are in slot 2 and 3, you know that what the kind of paper has come. Just relax and expect the similar paper, and we will continue helping you out with the analysis at HitBullseye. Right now we are giving slot 1, we will give you slot T3, and after slot 3 we will give you overall at what score and what attempt, what percentile you can get. So, overall best of luck for slot 2 and 3 student from HitBullseye team, and I am very sure you will still come and go for a kill. Thank you.